Aloha, my name is Tammy Moniz with Faith Surf School at the beautiful Outrigger Waikiki Beach Resorts. We come to you in the same place where ancient Hawaiian royalty once lived, walked, and surfed these waves. Together with Outrigger, we bring to you Surfers in Residence, where we gather our surf stories for our children's children. Today I have a very special guest, my baby, and World Surf League's Championship Tour surfer, Seth Moniz. So, Seth, welcome to Mommy's podcast.
This is legit, Mom. I'm really impressed. You got a full thing going on here.
Yeah, this is not a lecture, okay? So don't worry.
It's just a talk with Mom.
Yeah.
Catching up.
Catching up. So I did, in wanting to introduce you, I was like, what should I write? And I was just like, I'm going to Google it. So you want to hear what Google has to say?
Yeah,
okay.
Let's hear it.
World Championship Tour professional surfer and youngest of the Moniz family, Seth is acrobatic, hard charging, and has all the mechanics available in his surfing to excel in a wide range of conditions. Aside from his insane surfing, Seth has a smile and personality that's recognized by fans wherever he travels.
Wow. Who wrote that?
I don't know. I think there was an article or something that was written. So I don't hope that's not taking someone's words, but I'm really excited to have you. I mean, we don't get to talk because you don't sit down in front of me and talk to me for more than 5 minutes anyway. So I got you for an hour, I think.
They got me locked in today.
I did. Well, being here is very special. And you know how special this place is growing up and also being a Hawaiian. So being a Hawaiian surfer from Waikiki, tell me what that is to you.
Well, I guess growing up in Hawaii and being recognized as a Hawaiian surfer, best way to put it is I'm just trying to go out there and represent Hawaii and like being proud of being from this beach in Waikiki and knowing how deep the roots are here and the birthplace of surfing, and still not too many people know that on the road. And so it's, just being proud of that and showing that around the world and showing the aloha spirit and showcasing our culture. And it's good to like show that surf etiquette we learn here and just representing the people here, because it's a lot too. Because I know like right now I'm one of 2 Hawaiians that are on tour, well, native Hawaiians. And so for us, I know a lot of people look at us for inspiration and representation.
Why do you think that's so important today to tell the story of our culture, of our history here regarding surfing?
I think just to keep the legacy alive. Seems like it's kind of a lost culture in a way of people forget like where surfing came from. They either think it came from Australia or Brazil nowadays. So I think it's just important to remember your roots and represent where you came from and being proud of it.
This is why it's so important for the Outrigger and myself to put these out, because it allows us to tell the story, personal stories of belonging here and growing up here. I mean, you learned, I'm looking right out here, and you learned on those waves. You almost drowned in the water. You probably got some skin still in some of the reefs over here. But can you think about one of your most memorable moments as a child growing up in Waikiki?
I mean, there's so many moments growing up in Waikiki. This place was pretty wild for us at a young age, just you guys working all day and letting us just run around this city and, misbehaving and figuring our young adulthood life. And this place just offered so much for us, from surfing and canoe paddling, swimming, and it was just a lot of fun. We got, obviously as a little kid running around with 10 kids with a bunch of tourists around, we would make trouble to tourists, not in a bad way, but just, we were just being kids, and just a lot of really good memories. I don't know, my best, probably one of the one that will just stick with me the most is when I used to surf out here with no leash, and I didn't really know how to swim yet. I could stand up on a board and and do turns and everything, but I couldn't properly swim yet, which was like pretty weird. But I lost my surfboard. The reason why I'd wear no leash is because my brothers and sister, they wouldn't wear a leash to be cool. So I would follow them, and I lost my surfboard, and I was just panicking. I was panicking on the inside. I could probably touch the bottom, but I just had this panic. I love the ocean, but I was scared of it, and panicking, yelling for help, and some of my friends were paddled past me because they didn't realize I couldn't really swim. They thought I was joking. And all of a sudden, this little Japanese kid came out with my surfboard, pushed it out, and I was just like crying and saying, help, help. And this kid pushed my board to me, got it, and I met him. And long story short, that kid became one of my best friends. His name's Gen Asano.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was Gen?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
awesome. That's a great story. I know that same story your sister tells all the time when we talk about you and Waikiki. And her perspective was, well, she just came in after we came in from a lesson, and she's like, Mom, you gotta talk to Seth. You can't let him go out there without a leash. He went all the way out and he almost drowned, and he's like yelling for help, half drowning. She goes, you have to tell him. And she was so upset with you. But that was kind of like, I don't know. I don't know why. It wasn't like anything to it. Like, I don't remember it being traumatized by that. I'm just like, oh gosh, Seth, put a leash on. Or,
It's
I mean, what was I thinking?
pretty crazy. I think I was like 5.
Right. I would never let my grandkids ever.
Times have changed. Back then it's weird to say back then, but it was rugged, and there's no social media, and it's kind of a lot better.
And a lot of uncles and aunties were on the beaches.
Yeah.
You weren't left alone. But
Well,
there
you just
were
learned
aunties.
how to be like independent at a young age, and without a phone, and just to figure stuff out on yourself.
After we, you surfed here, then we kind of, the progression was to go to Kiwalos, right? And then after, it took us to the North Shore. How was it like growing up with 3 brothers? You have 3 brothers and 1 sister. How was it like growing up with your 3 brothers surfing?
Yeah, I think it was really good for me, just to have 3 brothers that were really good at what they did, and to show me the way, and it made me like way above my years, because I always try to keep up with them, and I treated myself like I was the same age as them. So like whatever they did, even when they went surfing at a reef break or whatever it was, I wanted to go. So it definitely helped in that way. Pushed me a lot. Obviously got like child abuse when I was young from them, but we won't talk about the stories that they did to me, but it made me stronger.
Oh my gosh. And I'm only finding about these terrible stories like now in their lives, like a lot of stories. Somehow they think it's funny.
No, it's really good. It made me stronger. I mean, they're really good to me. They're like protecting me, but I think being, the youngest of 3, and they're probably jealous of me of being you're the golden child. Yeah, like I just, I was the baby, so they made me stronger.
And what about your sister?
Sis just was like our second mom, because obviously you guys were working super hard and trying to feed us at, when we're young, and sis was like 11, 12 years old, taking care of me, probably changing my diapers, showering me, doing all the things a mom does. So she had a lot of experience, and that's why, she's a great mom now. But she was like the middle person to all of us. Like, we never really fought with sis, very rarely. But she was definitely the boss.
Definitely. She still is kind of.
I mean, yeah.
So your dad, Tony, he's here now. He's a professional surfer back in the 80s and throughout. What did that mean to you then?
It really didn't mean anything, honestly. Like, for real, though. Like, growing up, he's just your dad, You never realized, like, what he did, and, like, it was just dad. Never thought he was, like, some super cool, like, popular guy. And, I mean, nowadays, since I'm, like, on tour and doing doing exactly what he did, I can have more of a understanding of his career, and then especially hearing stories when I travel and meet his old friends, and he's got friends everywhere I go. It's always talking about him. How's your dad? How's your mom? Or, oh, me and your dad travel together. It's like everywhere I go, there's the main local in the lineup telling me stories about dad. So yeah, I think more now I understand his career and what he did and how impactful he was in Hawaii and the legacy he left for us. So yeah, but growing up, he was just dad. I was pretty young when he was his tail end of like him surfing big waves. So I didn't really get to see much of it. You know, I saw him surf in one eddy, and I was probably 7.
What is the eddy?
Eddy Aikau is a big wave invitational only surf event on the North Shore, and it's in memory of Eddy Aikau. He was a lifeguard, big wave pioneer, and just, you know, a huge surfer that embodied just the spirit of being Hawaiian and just like a true like soul surfer, true waterman. He did a lot of great things for all of us, and this event has been going on for like 50 plus years. My dad was in it for the first 25 years that it ran, and then now me and my brother have been invited to it the last 2 years. I haven't surfed in one yet, but my brother Josh has. It's crazy to be in it now, and I remember watching the first time I watched him, I was like, yeah, I never want to do this. It was pretty clear back then, like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
But, you know, now things have turned, and
Yeah.
I'm a pro surfer, so it's kind of mandatory.
Last year when your brother was in it, or the 2 years ago, whenever it was, you seemed like at another level of like excitement or adrenaline. Even if you weren't in it, you were supporting him. What was that like to you?
It's a weird one because I was like, I kind of want to be in this event. I haven't put in any time at Waimea. I know I can do it. I know I can surf out there and catch a big wave and do it just like everyone else. But it's kind of a thing where it's like, I don't know if it's really worth it, of like almost dying. But I know once I get into it, I'll be super happy. But that day, I was inspired of just like, all right, I'll put in a little time over here because, you know, you have to do that. I know I'm a competitive surfer. I'm not a big wave surfer. So it goes to the people that are deserving of it. And, you know, like I didn't find myself like, I didn't see I was deserving or put in any time out there. So the morning of the contest, I decided to paddle out at dark before anyone paddled out, before they made the call. And I thought it was going to be small. Everyone was like, it's going to be small in the morning and it should pick up throughout the day. But woke up in the morning and it was 30, 35 feet closing out. I was just like, what? I already had my suit on, geared up. And yeah, the ski came in and he saw me, grabbed me, and I paddled out. You know, I caught like 2 small waves and then the contest started real quick. But just being out there and kind of feeling it and being in that environment just really got me like pretty frothed up to be in it and put in time out there. So yeah, I just went in from that session and supported Josh all day. I stayed in my wetsuit and my flotation suit. So we wear a flotation wetsuit that has an airbag. Basically, it's like the one you wear on an airplane. If it goes down, you know, you got a little lever here, you pull and it explodes with air in this bag and it brings you up. I stayed in that suit all day long, the whole contest. I was on the beach by the water's edge, like helping people in and out and helping Josh and my friends that were in it. And it was really fun to just do that and honestly not be in it and just get a taste for the environment. And I was not bummed at all that I wasn't in the event. It was a really memorable time just watching it and soaking it all in. Crazy day watching. I was really scared for Josh.
Well, when you talk about the eddy, like there's a specific requirement of waves that they wait for. So that's why it's never every year, because it doesn't get that big every year, right? But it's a 20 plus
30 feet, 25 feet.
Which is double than 20. We like in Hawaii, we
Yeah.
measure it from the back of the wave. and that's 20 feet and
which is 40-foot faces.
40-foot faces everywhere else in the world. So why that we do that, I'm not sure, but
It's pretty dumb.
it's 40 foot and it's pretty crazy. So yeah, it was very interesting to watch you because I've never seen you kind of in the zone like that, you know,
Yeah.
or someone else.
I mean, there's not too many times where I'm not in the event, you know, where it's like I'm normally in the event with Josh. So it's like I'm just staying quiet and conserving my energy and like staying in my zone. So, but when I'm not in the event, I'll do everything to help whoever that is. Like I'll use all my energy that I would use in the contest for that person because I know the anxiety and the pressure it takes, and just especially at an event like that, you know, it's really nice to have someone in your corner that's just doing the little stuff, waxing your board, putting on the leash, getting you prepped up because you have to, you know, you have to go through stages of going over your equipment, especially in a contest like that, and just making sure he's ready and being there for him.
Well, going back to your dad, like, what do you think, like, now that you've learned from him in the years of growing up under him? I mean, he's helped coach you guys in the beginning, filmed you, created pockets for you to practice with friends, like, and he's been, you know, a professional all his life. So what do you think now you took away from all that?
The most important thing Dad would always tell us when we were younger was to have fun and to enjoy it. Because if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then you shouldn't do it. Like, there's just no point. You know, you can't do something you don't enjoy your whole life. So that was a big one, and you know, I really took that to heart and used that because there were times where I didn't enjoy surfing and I didn't surf. 16, 17, I don't know if you remember that, but I didn't surf that much. I just liked hanging out with friends and doing like normal kid stuff. And for a while there, I was kind of, I would say I was lagging, and like I had, you know, I was 16, 17, and that's when I was like kind of getting traction and winning contests. And I kind of seemed not burnt out, but I didn't really know if I wanted to really make the tour and do all that. Like I loved surfing, but so that time for me, I'd say it was like a big pivotal moment because I got to do normal stuff. I still surfed occasionally, but I didn't surf like every day, like how I should have been doing it, how kids are doing it now that are chasing it. But so yeah, that time I think I just figured out to do it for myself rather than just being like, oh, you're part of this Moniz family legacy, you know, surfing, this is your direction you're going in, like you're going to be a surfer, you know. That's what it always felt like. Like I just had to do it because it was like the only thing. I homeschooled, wasn't that great in school.
Sorry.
I mean, it wasn't your fault. It was just, you know, it wasn't our thing. We grew up on the beach. Like, I think just once we started doing that, I think school wasn't like, you know, it wasn't fun being home because we did school on the beach during, you know, 3-4 months out of the year. Finding the balance and doing it for myself was a big one, and do it to have fun, and that'll keep you going for a while. You can get burnt out in this sport. You lose a lot. You lose 95% of the time. Even Kelly Slater, I mean, he loses, 50% of the time, and he's still the best ever, and no one will ever catch him, but that's just the reality of it. Like, there's only one winner per event.
Yeah.
It's really hard to win, and yeah, it's just a lot of losing, and it taxes you. So yeah, once you can kind of navigate that and do it for yourself and be in your own path, I think it's a bit hard.
That's great. Well, you've been sponsored by Billabong for 20 years, right? 20 years. And how does that work, and how did that help you in your whole amateur career?
I mean, I grew up in the industry when I was 13, 14 was pretty crazy. Like surfing was from 10 to 14, I think surfing, that's the days where surfing heydays, you know, Andy and Kelly, Joel, Taj, those guys were at the top, and all their rivalries were surfing was like a rock star sport back then. I think the companies were flourishing. The companies are privately owned, and they're killing it, and there's a lot of money, and kids my age were getting paid six figures at 13, even 12 years old, and I was started getting paid pretty well at a young age, so that definitely helped me get out there and go on trips, surf trips, pay for contests. And then, once I started doing the QS at like 17, 18, I wouldn't be able to do it without my sponsors. So it was definitely huge, and just realizing that I grew up in a stage where those guys set it up for us was pretty insane. Really lucky kind of generation to grow up in behind them. But at the same time, I think there was a downfall to that because, kind of right now it's not like that. And I think that kids were probably getting paid too early and too young and before they really proved themselves. And, companies would throw huge money to a 14-year-old, and 3 years later they quit surfing. They're done, they're burnt out, too much pressure and all that for a 14-year-old to handle. So I think the surf world is turning around and going in like a really good direction. I hope it's coming around, it seems to be like a lot of negativity on social media on like WSL or everything that's going on, but I think it's going in the right direction.
During your life as a Grum, we would spend half of our year out at home working here and surfing in town, and half the year in the North Shore. We're at the Billabong House, which would be like a surfer kid's dream to live out there. Tell us what that was like for you.
Billabong sponsored our whole family. I was 6. I was a baby. They didn't sponsor me. They sponsored my sister and Isaiah and Josh. Like, I was barely surfing, I think. But, they got the whole family on board, and that gave us the opportunity to stay on the North Shore at the Billabong House when we were, 12, 13. Would you say that? 13? Started going out there. Yeah, and that just, coming from a beach where it's 1 to 2 foot every day and pretty small. You can't, it's a good starting place here, and it's great to learn the fundamentals, but, if you want to improve yourself, you have to go to the North Shore and get comfortable with big waves. So that was a huge blessing. Definitely like skyrocketed our level of surfing. It's just staying right there on the beach, right in front of Pipe, and being able to surf there every day during the wintertime. Yeah, definitely leveled all of us. We got a lot of practice and just time in the water.
Definitely a beautiful time making friends from all over the world that you would then see and travel with after, right? You're surfing on the World Surfing League on the championship tour, which is the most elite place of surfing. Like, it's every surfer's dream, or most kids want to dream of where you're at, right? What would you tell a kid that has a dream to surf professionally?
It's really tough because, I'm 26 now, and I did it, and I always try to think of that, like, how did I put it together? And because there were times, like I said earlier, that I wasn't that into it, and then there were times where I was all in. But I think you just really gotta, like we said earlier, have fun when you're young and just surf a lot. Just surf. Try to improve and try to have fun, because if you're not having fun, you're not going to get better. If you're not enjoying your session, you can't really improve, I believe. And you just take it like you're doing any other sport, like you're playing soccer in high school or football in high school. Like, take those training sessions and put in your work, put in your hours. It's really important to surf different waves and practice on different types of waves. Like here, I got the best of both worlds. I had soft waves that were more friendly in town in Waikiki, and then I got to go up to the North Shore and surf heavy waves and get a balance of that, because especially growing up in Hawaii, once you start traveling, you're in for a shock, because the waves are a lot different everywhere else in the world. Your boards are going to work differently, everything. Like, you're going to be in a wetsuit. You're going to be uncomfortable. So, you got to really take note of those things and be like a diversified surfer, you have to be good in all conditions. And I think just for any kid, you can't just focus on one thing. You have to really be open-minded to new ways, listening to your coach, whoever's coaching you. Like, if you're with them, commit to them, and listen to them. They're doing that for a reason. Once you get to that 16, 15-year-old range where you're a little older and you want to like decide for yourself if you're gonna want to be a pro surfer, I think you just have to put everything in one basket and go for it. You have to be all in. And just like anything in life, if you want to make it to the top of whatever industry or sport you're in, it takes hard work, and you have to train. You can't just surf. You have to work on your body. Like, I started doing CrossFit first at a pretty young age. Dad just got us into it and started doing that. And that kind of, I just learned, you just slowly learning about your body and what feels good for you, what feels right. Like, I'm 26 years old now and finally feel like I'm doing the right workouts and feel like I'm doing a good job on taking care of myself. So it takes a while.
As a surfer on the Dream Tour, that I looked at the WSL website, and it said something that says round of 16, Seth Moniz's miracle delivered, excellence in dying moments clears him from mid-season cutoff, which was gnarly because half year going into the season, you can actually get pushed off the tour and have to start again, and it's a lot. It's a lot of stress. And what Taylor said was like the dying moment, you had to make that heat. You were losing the heat. What happened in that moment?
Yeah, obviously a really high-pressured situation and a position I didn't want myself to be in. Coming into the last event, I needed a big result, and I was a bad seed. So I knew I was going to come up against the high seeds. That's how it works. Like, I was 22nd at the time, and I'm going to come against number 3 and number 4, who are, in form. They're in the flow of things that season. So yeah, I had a big challenge, and that heat came up against Ethan Ewing, who was he's so good on a right point like that. But I knew I could do it. I surfed that guy all the time. I'm around him, and we go on surf trips together. I had an opportunity at the end of the heat. There's 5 minutes left. I got a wave, surfed it pretty well, fell on my last turn, didn't get the score, and I was really mad at myself. It could have been done right there. Could have I needed a 5.8. I got a 5.3 because I fell. And at that point, when I finished the wave, I had like 2.5 minutes. And I was just so mad with myself, and like, was that it? Like, I might not get another opportunity, but I fell on the wave. I punched my board, and I was just like yelling. I was like, I said the F word. I gave myself 10 seconds to be mad about it, and I got on the jet ski, and they took me out, and I just started pumping myself up and clapping, and just like celebrating. And trying to trick my mind, like, I got it. Like, let's go. I started like, let's go. And I was clapping real loud. And the ski driver's just flying the jet ski. I jump off the ski. It's like another minute paddle into the lineup. So it's a 30-second ride it's another, 45-second paddle back into the lineup. And I see this set coming. I just made it like perfect timing to be in the lineup. I also have second priority, so that means I don't have right of way. And Ethan just decided not to go on this wave, and I went. And yeah, I got an 8.5, and I got the score. It was crazy. It was a huge moment. It was probably just, it was a really clutch moment where I had no other choice to go for it. And yeah, just really thankful for the opportunity. I was just like, just give me a chance. That's all you ask for in a heat, is for opportunity. And then if I fall or fail, then it's on me. But sometimes in the ocean you just don't get the chances, and that's just the nature of our sport.
Thank you so much, because we were so happy being all scattered through this island, watching you on our phones, and it was a pretty remarkable time. Okay, so let's talk about this. Who has impacted your life the most as a surfer and as a human?
I mean, in my whole life, you
Yeah.
and Dad, for sure. Yeah, you and Dad. I mean, you guys taught us everything, and we were able to, like, live on the beach, basically, as little homeless Waikiki rats, basically. So that was, like, looking back, I remember being young, I would always look at other kids and say, like, I want to be able to do what they do, kind of. But, I think that's, like, a crazy way to grow up on the beach, surfing all day and being with friends and not having to go to school. Yeah, that was really good childhood and everything you guys taught us. I think in surfing, Reynos Hayes coached me my whole life. Dad coached me too, but he kind of got to the point where he didn't want to fit those. He didn't want to. I think he saw the other surf dads and how gnarly they were, and just, I think as a father-son relationship, it doesn't go well at the end. It's good when you're young and when you're just having fun, but once you start taking it serious and you're trying to, like, be a pro surfer, I think you have to find someone. So I had Reynos since I was real young, like 9 till or 10 till, just a couple of years ago. And he taught me a lot. Like, my foundation of surfing was from him, how to surf a heat, all that. We traveled the world together for a long time, so he definitely taught me a lot of things, and owe it all to him for kind of just, like, paving the way for me and, like, getting me to here, because we had a lot of success together, from qualifying to rookie of the year to just staying on tour for, it's 5 years now.
Who's up and coming, your fave to watch right now, male and a female?
Favorite female is Katie Simmers. She's just such a pure, like, she doesn't seem like she's this competitive, like, gnarly surfer girl. She's just a pure surfer, and she's a real artist in what she does. She's so flowy, and she just does stuff that, it's like stuff. She does stuff that I want to do, as in, like, being in tune with the ocean, and she seems like she has a really, really good connection with the ocean, and she just lets things happen, and she just constantly has these clutch moments. Like, every contest is just, it's pretty insane to watch her level and where she's taking women surfing. I think she's going to do a lot of great things in surfing, but yeah, I think she's my favorite right now. I mean, obviously the locals, like Betty Lou, she's awesome. She's gnarly. She's same like their generation. Betty Lou, Molly Picklum, Katie, Risa, they're all just, the game is fully changing, the generation. And it seems like that's happening on the men's side as well. And then favorite surfer, I never really had favorite surfers. I would say, like, when I was young, it's weird, I wasn't stoked on pro surfers. Like, I didn't really care. But I think I started liking Andy. When I met pro surfers, that's when I liked them. I was like, if they were, like, super nice and cool. I met Andy at the Billabong House, staying there, and I always thought he was this bad guy, because that's how that's kind of how they played him out on surf movies. Like, he was this gnarly bad guy, party guy. But, when I met him, he was the nicest guy ever. And, like, for a world champ to just give a little kid, like, an hour and just talk to him was, like, really cool. And, like, moments like that makes, changes a kid. And I remember telling myself, like, that's how I'm going to be when I grow up. Like, talk to kids. Like, just give them a little time, it goes a long way. And, yeah, I'd say Andy, Kelly, huge inspiration just for him doing what he does. 52, still competing against the best. Surfing really good right now, and he didn't have the greatest year, but he's surfing insane. I think he's surfing better than he did 5 years ago.
Well, speaking of Andy, Andy was in the movie Trilogy with Parko and Taj. Back in the day, it was the movie, and you, Ethan, and Griffin just came out with the movie Trilogy, and it was probably one of the most beautiful. I mean, you're my son, of course. I think everything you do is beautiful, but I feel like it was just a really well done, beautiful movie.
Mhm.
Like how was that?
Yeah, it was a tough movie and project to film. We we started the project in 2021, the end of 2021. So going through 2022 during COVID, we started the project, and it was a lot of work, and it was a lot of fun. Like some of the best experiences I've ever had. It was a huge opportunity for all of us because we never been in a high film budget surf movie. We normally travel with one filmer and maybe a photographer, and that's it. But these trips were big, like 13 guys and 3 surfers. And those 13 guys there's 3 camera angles, there's 2 drones in the air. There were all these guys just running around as a full production, and it was definitely tough, moving around with a big crew like that on a surf trip where you're in an isolated place and there's not much. But it was just insane seeing the work. Aether Productions, who were the production team on every trip, it is crazy to see their level and what they can do, and I can't wait for people to see it because it's 2024. It's been a long time coming, and it's premiering all over the world right now until September, and you can buy it on Apple TV. Buy it. It's like $20. Please. Nah, I'm kidding, but
It is worth it.
it's worth it. I mean, I don't think surfing's really seen like a production like that yet. Everyone thinks it's just going to be pure surfing and like a surf core film, but it's really a lot more than that. There's backstories to our family life and our downtime life, and things we do out of surfing, and asking a lot of personal questions to Griffin and Ethan, who we don't really see much, or you don't really see anything but their surf clips. So I think it's cool for so the surf fans and people that don't even know surfing, and to get those people involved into our lives.
The producer, Andy,
Yeah.
you met him in a special way.
Yeah.
Like, you want to share that?
Andrew McKenzie is a really good friend of mine now, but in 2020, I met him on an airstrip in Micronesia, a random tiny little island. We're hopping islands, and there's only a dirt strip with one plane on it, and it takes off, and it comes back, and it picks people up. So I was arriving, he was leaving, and I just met this guy on this airstrip, and I just started talking to him. He was kind of just like looking at us, and I think he knew who we were, but he wasn't sure. And I just started talking to him and making friends, and had no idea who he was still. And he went home, and we just started our surf trip. And I was with Griffin and Ethan. So I was with those 3 guys. We were all on Billabong at the time, and we were surfing in Micronesia at the beginning of COVID, like right before it started. And it happened to be like a year later where he hit us all up, and it was like, hey, my name's Andy, and I want to make a surf movie with you guys. He's like, I'm gonna go to Billabong. I'm gonna go ask them for money. He's like, hey, I want to make a Trilogy 2.0 with Griffin, Ethan, and Seth. They were all for it, and Andy told them, like, I'm gonna go out there and fundraise. I'll get the money. So Andy's a real boss. He went out there, fundraise money. He got money, donors, and he put this movie together. He wrote it, he directed it, produced it. He was on every single trip. And through that year, we were still on tour while we were filming for this movie. So we basically traveled. I traveled for like 8 months that year. So surf contest, and then surf trip, film, and then back to a surf contest. So it was definitely a lot on my body, and I actually did get hurt.
Yeah.
I got hurt during the film because, when you're surfing that much, your body just becomes brittle, and you're not in the gym, and you're not taking care of yourself that much. Yeah, just an insane experience, like the amount of work it takes to do a legit film like that.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more beautiful portrayal of surfing and the culture, but as friends and friendship and your lives that I've seen, as well as the drone footage. It's like blows me away.
His name's Blake. He is one of the best, fastest drone racers in the world. He is a drone racer. So they fly these tiny little drones and they race at like 120 miles per hour, 200 miles per hour. Tiny drones going through like little holes, like like tracks in the air. They have like, circles and whatever. It's gnarly, but he's now on the production side of things, and he was also on every trip, and he got some insane unseen footage. Like, I think that's probably the biggest thing that people take from the film is the drone work. I would say I don't really like droning. Like, I don't necessarily, it gets kind of headachy and overwhelming when you have a lot of drone footage in a film, but what he did is like next level and it's unreal.
Well, thanks for coming.
That it?
Sitting with me.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. It's like, but yeah, I love you, and I
Love you too.
love what you do, love who you are, and just excited for this next of the year. Tell us, what is your goals for this rest of this year?
My goals is to win an event. I haven't won an event yet. I'd really just like to get that feeling. I've been in a final and some semis, but yeah, I need to win an event and make the top 5. That's still, I'm 13th right now, but I'm not too far behind 5th. I'm like one big result away from getting in that top 5. A win will take me there, a final. So yeah,
Right.
a few good events coming up, some left barrels. So, that's people consider me just a barrel guy, and I was trying to prove that wrong this year, and I think I did. And yeah, now we're going to barrel, so I did the turns and whatever. Marcus, now I get to go do my thing.
Yeah. Go do your thing, my love. I love you.
Love you.
Well, that's it for Surfers in Residence today on this beautiful day in Waikiki. It's my son, Seth, and I'm Tammy Moniz. Have a good day.